The American troops are leaving an extremely volatile Afghanistan behind. While the US says their aim in the country has been fulfilled, the reality unfolding narrates a different story. To understand the situation better, our New York correspondent, Susan Tehrani, sat down virtually with the former advisor to the US Defense Department for Afghanistan and Pakistan. Now listen in to Colonel Christopher Kolenda, who was the first American to have fought the Taliban as a commander in combat.
Colonel Christopher Kolenda, thank you so much for joining me on WION World is One. Recently, Afghan forces and their leadership have been saying that Pakistan has been fighting alongside the Taliban. They have cited material evidence. They've even made arrests. Colonel Kolenda, as the first American to have fought the Taliban as a commander in combat and engaged them in peace talks, what is your assessment?
An insurgency needs two things to be successful, and that's international or sanctuary across the border of the host country, as well as sufficient internal support so that they can continue fielding a fighting force. And it seems that the Taliban has had both and has had both for the duration of the conflict. Conversely, the host nation government, to be successful, needs to be able to retake and retain the support of the population in insurgent-controlled areas. The Afghan government has not been able to do that successfully throughout the duration of the war, and so what you see is almost like a burning the candle at both ends with a blowtorch. And we see the result is the sort of rapid deterioration or the fast motion deterioration that we've been seeing currently in Afghanistan.
The Taliban are a much smaller force in size compared to Afghan forces, but have been expanding and capturing territories. I mean, we have a new development almost on a daily basis. The question many are asking is, where do they get their supplies of arms and finances, and what is this supply chain?
Well, it's really frustrating to watch. You look at some of the Asia Foundation surveys that say only 10% or so of the Afghan people support the Taliban. Well, in a country of 35 million, that's about 3.5 million supporters. Conversely, that also means that 31.5 million people or more don't support the Taliban, maybe support the government. And one of the tragic things, I think, throughout the history of this war is that the Afghan government has not been able to gain the active support of enough of its population to prevent this insurgency from gaining steam. The Taliban have had sanctuary in Pakistan since the war began. Their leaders fled to Pakistan. They've had sanctuary there from since the beginning. It also appears that they've got some supplies and sanctuary in Iran and some of the other neighboring states. And weapons smuggling is huge business in this conflict. And so you've got a lot of people that are getting very, very wealthy off of weapons smuggling, and the people who are paying the price of the Afghan public.
The United States in any form did achieve victory coming out of Afghanistan at this point. Are we in a different place than we were post 9/11 and the threat of Islamic terrorism?
Well, it's too soon to tell. For the United States, with its main war aim, not having Afghanistan as a platform for international terrorist organizations to plan, coordinate, and launch international terrorist attacks, it seems so far that has been successful. Now, the longer the war goes on in Afghanistan, the more uncertain that the durability of that outcome remains. At the same time, the United States supported a government that has been unable to win the active support of its population. Regional actors have been fomenting instability inside of Afghanistan, and it puts the central war aim at risk. So these unforced errors are things that the United States, the international community, needs to take stock of and prevent this from happening again.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.